Instas.
We're doing that also, but
We do that also with the feed that's already, it's all over the place. That guy, the Instagram department, they're watching right now.
Oh, they are?
I'm always convinced.
So I need an update. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. So Stephanie and I worked at NBC together a few moons ago. Stephanie's a meteorologist. I don't know, whatever it is that I did over there. I made people laugh. I made myself laugh. I tripped and fell. And I left the end of last year already. I had 2 babies. I took a year to just...
Yeah, how's the transition been for you?
So the transition was good. I spent a year doing all the things that NBC didn't really let me do, like Law and Order and like doing some public speaking and some motivational speeches. And I did an episode of Royal Pains, which I really wanted to do. I started a website. I did some radio. Like I'm starting this live streaming show. Like all these like cool things that I just couldn't do while I was always also doing that show. And now I'm sort of settling in, and I like this. This is actually kind of neat. As Lance tells me all the time, this today is where like Netflix was 5 years ago. So
right.
So we're live.
But here's
streaming.
my question, right? Because with Netflix, how do people make money? Because a lot of people do this type of thing, right?
Correct.
So is that the stress, or
no? We are going to get Lance. How do I answer that question?
anybody who wants to
allowed to ask any
advertise,
questions I want? I'm just
we
curious.
had advertisers
you
on
want, just don't
yesterday.
know how to
We're putting together the advertising program. Advertising.
But do you think advertising will happen on these platforms? Because that's really the problem overall, right? With these types of platforms.
Yep.
Is the advertising or the fees are too small for anyone to make any real money?
Correct. Lance has figured out a way.
So
to
Lance,
get
you
past
figured out a way to do that, because
Our advertisers want eyeballs. They like attention.
But how will you advertise? With like pop-up things on the bottom?
No, we're
or what will
No,
those
we
ads
do.
look
Like we had
We're gonna come
like
in.
a 15-minute. Like you come in and you talk about your business.
Okay.
So
So it'll be kind
yesterday
of like
we
a
had
commercial break.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
So
I'm gonna make
yesterday
it
we
fun
had
and
Dash
fun
Up
and
came
exciting.
in and talk about car auctions for 30 minutes.
And the more obscure, the better for me, because it's challenging for me
Right.
to be
You
able
don't
to
want
like.
the basic.
Right.
No, if you have like a circus company, like that's easy. But if you have like an insurance company, well, that's more challenging. So I get to really like dig in
Right.
deep.
So on TV, there's this concept of infomercials.
Uh-huh.
Your people go and they explain their things, and you have advertorials, and if you have eyeballs kind of concentrated, which we do, then there should
Do
be
you think that
advertising.
was the future of how all this is going to make some money? And not Jenna, I'm saying in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like right now, you have part of the issue is there's not much programming on. Like people think that there's nobody watching Periscope. We had a Periscope session the other day with 30,000 people watch.
30,000? I'm never going to get 30,000 watch this.
I think you will. Yeah. Well, first of all,
If
you
we
could
did
start
something
by.
sassy, we could.
We
but-
could. Oh yeah. Well,
Well,
very
we were talking
sassy.
baseball. It was very.
Well,
sassy.
see, that's the thing. Sports is what brings everyone
No,
in.
you want to know what brings everyone in?
What?
Weather.
It's not.
No.
But I
Stephanie,
see what you
does.
did there. I see
One
what
second,
you did
I
there.
have somebody who's actually speaking of that.
What?
kind of boots are you guys wearing?
Oh, really?
Well, he goes like this. I thought something was wrong.
I literally
Mine
have no
are
idea.
lucky.
Mine are so dorky. They're Rockport, which are like
Oh my God,
dork
that's
shoes.
so
Like not dork shoes. I
funny.
love Rockport. I'm
Yeah.
saying like come
You have a
they're
sponsorship with
Right,
Rockport.
sorry, Rockport.
So we were gonna.
I totally blew your
So
sponsorship
I was
with
gonna be
Rockport.
like talking to
Sorry,
Rockport later
Rockport.
today.
They're going to be on tomorrow. But
They're-
it's called their advertising.
Yesterday we just lost tomorrow's
But I mean,
advertising.
Rockport's known for like being like comfy
sturdy.
and sturdy and everything. Unlike,
But let me tell you something.
not unlike great. I screwed that sponsor, but I bet those are really cute.
These are Lucky brand.
Love
They
Lucky.
are the best. I've
They're not
worn
like those
these.
dorky Rockport.
They're not like those dorky Rockport.
Oh my gosh,
shoes that people wear.
Rockport! I obviously love you. I'm wearing your boots and I'm pimping them. But I'm just
You're
saying.
so funny. That was really funny. That's what happens
That
to me
was-
all the time.
All right, you're the
That's
brand
Foot
ambassador.
in mouth.
No, but this is how we're going to get people.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry, but what style, Lucky? Do you have any idea
Oh.
what style?
Those are really cute. I noticed those when I walked in. So whoever's asking, I'm with you on that. They're probably old, no?
No, I got them last year.
Oh,
Where
last
does
year.
it say?
Over here. No, it's just, it doesn't actually have the style on it or a style number that you could Google.
Yeah, so just get a size 8.
Do you have the box?
Just go
Are you
to
joking? All right.
go to Lucky and do 2-zipper short boot on the Google machine.
See how good she is? Go onto the World Wide Web. Put in.
www.
Sandy, that's as good as we're gonna get here.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That being said, yeah, it does actually pretty well. So weather sells, sports sells.
Yeah, but you didn't go down to the store and do this, right?
No. Why?
Because you're saying weather sells, so I thought maybe you would go live stream
No.
in front of the storm.
No, just people. That's just when I talk about Matthew, people seem
Okay.
to like that. And we have people who talk about sports. People seem to like
yeah.
that.
How about my Gators? Did you see the drama between the
No.
LSU? So LSU Florida got pushed because of Matthew, and there was all this behind the scenes drama that that went down with getting moved and what date and what stadium and
And
well, they've picked a date and everything, but LSU was saying that Florida had some shadester stuff going on, and I bleed orange and blue. I'm a Gator, so
my problem is I didn't go to a big school, Steph, so I don't root for. I have no college team to root for. I'm happy to adopt the Gators for you.
You can for this however long.
Our mutual friend Helen was a
Gator too.
Oh, she was.
Wait, you're not adopting the Buckeyes after?
Oh yeah, I have to adopt the Buckeyes for.
My family all went to Michigan. I grew up, born and raised in Florida. Got accepted to Michigan. Gave it to my dad. I was like, I'm gonna save you $30,000 a year. I'm going to Florida.
Nice.
Good for you.
But I was raised on maize and blue.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you went to the Ohio State.
I didn't
University,
go to the Ohio. I used to live in Columbus, Ohio, because my dad was in the Air Force.
Where did you go again?
I went to Baruch.
Oh, that's right.
Baruch College of Knowledge.
Nice. Anyway, I loved having Steph. Steph and I worked with you sometimes on weekends when you would come and fill in. And of everyone that ever passed through there, like, no one had your personality. You would walk into the hair and makeup room and you would just light it up.
Aww.
I love that. You were just always smiling. You were just always happy. You were never in a bad mood. And I just wondered how someone who just does weather all the time could be so happy.
Well, as you know, when you find your passion,
Yeah.
it just is natural, right? Because I've never worked a day in my life.
Right.
So,
But you and I both know it's one thing to say that, but then going through the politics and the rigmaroles of television is not always the easiest thing.
no, but you're going to get that anywhere. Everyone's got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing what you love,
Yes.
then you're still happy, even though there's all the mishmash, because you can't escape that in life.
Right.
And that's the reality. So I think that's the difference. Is I've been a scientist. I went to space camp twice when I was a kid. I'm a geek. Like, I have a degree in meteorology, geography, and a minor in math.
Really?
And so the fact that I get to, be on TV and talk about the weather and share my passion is, it's just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, did you always want, science, but did you always want to do
So
weather?
I didn't know what science discipline I wanted to go into. I took oceanography, I took chemistry, I took geology. I thought I was going to be a volcanologist for a while.
A volcanologist?
Yes.
Wow, your parents were like, yay!
What
shoot
is
for
a
the moon.
volcanologist?
Someone who studies volcanoes and earthquakes.
Oh,
and I took my first geology class, literally one of the hardest classes I've ever taken in my entire life. Here's a rock. Tell me what era it came from, how it was developed, how it formed, the heating and cooling and the age and everything. And I was like, I'm out. Like, this is a 1,000-level entry class.
Right.
I can't, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking a meteorology class, and I was like, it explains why the sky is blue, why it rains on one side of the street and not the other. There was a practicality to it that you could use.
So
on
why
a
is the
basis.
sky blue?
So you see different colors, whether it's the sky being blue or the sunset, because of the different particles in the atmosphere. So when you're at the beach or in LA, you see these spectacular sunrises and sunsets and whatnot. It's because you have the salt in the air, you have the aerosols in the air. So if you're in a really cruddy place and there's a lot of crap in the air, you're gonna have an awesome sunset.
Really? Like, you'll have great sunsets in Beijing?
I would guess they probably have good sunsets there with all the air pollution that they have.
Yes, absolutely.
If you can see it through there.
If you can see it through the air pollution.
Yeah.
If they have sunsets.
If they have sunsets. If the sun ever sets in Beijing. Who even knows? Well, that's great. And then but look, people are obsessed with weather. People love the weather.
Because it affects everybody.
Yes.
It affects everyone.
But
all
my
the
mom
time.
will watch the Weather Channel like
never knew
entertainment programming. Lives for the Weather Channel. I'm like, what are you watching? She's like, I'm watching the weather. I'm like, but it's a nice day. She goes, oh no, not here in the Midwest. I'm like, wait, where are you? She's like, well, I'm home. I'm like, what am I not understanding? You're watching other people's weather now? That's what you're doing? Watches other people's weather. She loves
I never knew this.
weather. Obsessed.
And I feel like I met your mom once on the street
I'm
with
sure
the kids.
yes, you did. And I told my dad that I was talking to you today, and he got all excited.
How did I not know this?
Yeah, they're big weather fans. And they like Janice Huff.
Well, how could you not?
Janice Huff does weather here in New York on Channel 4. They're big Janice Huff fans.
Nicest woman on the planet.
Yes.
You cannot get any nicer.
And you cannot rattle her.
No.
Matthew could hit her face, and she'll be like,
she is.
let me tell you what's happening. Yeah,
she's so easygoing.
So do you get, I don't want to use the word excited, but there's a crazy excitement around the office when a hurricane passes through and understanding it and predicting it and following it?
And I've been in the field, so I've been at the Weather Channel 13 and a half years-ish now, which is crazy to think about. It started in June of 2003. So, when a storm is coming, obviously there's heightened interest in it, if you will. I don't want to say excited. And then with Matthew, I'm born and raised in Florida, so I had friends from South Florida all the way up to North Florida that my phone, you all of a sudden become everyone's personal meteorologist.
Exactly.
Which you are all the time anyway.
Right.
Oh, my friend in Idaho wants to know if it's like...
Or I'm taking a trip,
right.
I'm going to be traveling, I have 2 stops, and it's first time here, if you could just give me, and then... It looks cloudy. Is it going to rain?
Well, I'm having my kid's birthday party outside in 4 years.
Yeah.
What do you got for me? So, with Matthew coming, it for me was super personal because I had all these people that were really close to me in Florida calling, what's going to happen? What should I do? Shutters, not shutters, and everything. So there's that to it. There's the record aspects to it. There's just the shock and awe of it and what it did to Haiti. Aren't you from?
I'm from Haiti. Yeah. Mother Nature hates Haiti.
Hates Haiti.
Yeah, hates Haiti with a passion.
I mean, I saw one person say it was like the second coming of the earthquake, which was not an exaggeration from the video that I've seen out of there.
Right.
It's just, as you know, it's just so terrible and sad and just awful. So, then you see those videos. And this is one thing that drew me to weather is I went through Andrew. I was in West Palm, so you didn't really actually go through it like they did in Miami, but it was threatening and whatnot. And I remember seeing the destruction after firsthand and thinking, how in the world did wind and rain cause that?
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to understand that. And it still blows my mind that, like in Haiti, how did just wind and rain literally annihilate that peninsula?
But tell me, is it because I don't understand. I just don't understand it. The other question I always have for you is, why are there 27 different models all the time predicting where this is going to go? I think what people do is they don't really believe so much the extent or how hard it's going to hit because there are 27 models.
Right.
And why can't there just be like 2 models? Why can I have a model?
Sure,
it seems like
if you have enough
can
money, you
have a
can. Yeah, it's all money. So like the euro is the one that typically is the most accurate. Not always, but the one you hear a lot of. The
but
euro.
Why are they more accurate than
they
you?
have more money put into the American model.
What does that mean?
That means they can pull in more data, so they can have more servers. So like, say the American model can have servers just in this little fenced-in area. Well, the euro can have data input on servers on the whole rooftop.
So why do we even use the American model then?
Because they all have different starting points as well. So it's all mathematical equations, and those are all just a little bit different. And so, sometimes one performs a little bit better than the other. Now, if we could predict where thunderstorms were going to fire up, which we cannot do, and people in the meteorology world say, oh, we'll be able to figure that in our lifetime. I don't know, that's pretty intense to be able to exactly where a thunderstorm's going to blow up. Then you'd have a better idea of what's going to happen. But I think I don't know how you even figure that out.
Would you think that predicting a hurricane would be super important, that maybe we should put more money into it the way the Europeans do?
Yeah, but I mean, that then you get over the fight of how much and what are you taking from.
But the Europeans even have hurricanes?
Well, the model isn't necessarily just for Europe, and they have low pressures can be like, there's one coming in this week actually. There's been a couple coming into the Northwest, and the pressure of those were equivalent to a hurricane. I mean, they're going to have wind damage.
The Northwest, like of Great Britain?
No, of the U.S.
Oh.
So they get the same, that's what I'm saying, can get very strong storms as well.
Gotcha.
You're saying that the European model predicts in North America also, right? Like,
yes, around the world.
So they use the model.
No, that's what I'm saying, because they use the European model and the American model in the U.S.
In the U.S., but
and the 400 other models.
So why are our resources competing with the European model? Why not just add the American resources to the
I'm sure there's politics involved with that I'm just not engaged with, so I don't have an answer for that.
How were all your friends and family down there?
Good, everyone's fine, and like, this is what I was trying to articulate on air, which, it's so hard to articulate on air some things.
Yeah.
Where, I was in Jacksonville 20 miles inland from the beach, and I kept saying, if you're inland, you're going to be okay, and, people say, why are you not making a big deal about this? I'm like, because you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
If you're 10 miles inland, I had a friend, west of I-95, and she's thinking she's going to get this surge. I'm like, you're fine. It's over, like, at the coast is where but inland, it's going to be a rainy, windy day.
Right.
We never even lost power inland, but I think that's one of the challenges of TV is talking to everyone, but talking to no one, but talking to one specific person all at the same time. I would say that's my biggest challenge, on TV, because everyone's thinks as if you're talking to just them.
Yeah.
And so that's a real challenge for me.
Is it not as fulfilling working like on a national broadcast? Because did you ever start at a local?
I was in local for 9 months, and then I've been to the Weather Channel ever since.
Yeah. There's a difference between like turning on your local station and really focusing here, as opposed to having to have such a big
But when there
landscape.
is a big storm coming, you really do get
local.
zoned in.
Okay.
You know, and when there is severe weather blowing up, you really do get zoned in and local. So it's funny when someone's like, "Oh, have you ever heard of pick a city name?" I'm like, "Well, actually,
yeah.
that is in the northwest corner of the state because
Absolutely.
I remember there was, you know."
And today it's 62 degrees,
Right.
just in case you're wondering if little Jimmy's going to have his birthday party. So
But what was that you were saying?
Right,
You know?
exactly. Well, they left like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, so it's funny.
So what else is going on with you?
So
Because I will tell you that I recently read a blog that you wrote, and I had to read it twice because I was sort of moved and blown away by it, and was intrigued by what sparked it, and where it came from, and where it's going, and if you still feel the same way. You made reference to a book that I also read, but a million years ago. So tell me a little bit about your whole train of thought has sort of changed.
Yeah, my whole train of thought has changed, and like I said in my blog, which I'm still not 100% ready to put out there for the world to consume, the whole background story and whatnot. But in the last 2 years, I've just been awakened, if you will, become more aware of the fact that we can control our negative self-talk, and we can control our brains, and we can control Eckhart Tolle, which is who you're referring to, our ego, as he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people hear ego and they think of someone who's egotistical and full of themselves, and that's not what he's referring to. He's really more referring to the negative self-talk. And, you know, what prompted me to write this blog is social media. Hi.
Hello.
We all go on social media and say all these things, and yet we're in bed crying in fetal position eating Oreos.
Yep.
And it really upsets me. You know, I don't do any social media personally. I only do it for public consumption.
Mm-hmm.
So like my personal Facebook page has no posts on it, has nothing. Because it just, to me, is keeping up with Joneses. They have a better life. They have better things. Their husband or wife loves them more. Their kids are better. They, you know, they made lunch, made out with their husband, and got to work on time, and everyone's happy. And I want to blow the lid off that. And I don't know how I want to do that exactly yet, but I want to do something, because everyone reads all these quotes. Oh, you know, love yourself and everything. All that stuff is true, but you have to take action. And I was just talking to a friend yesterday. We all struggle with our weight, with our relationships, with our job, with our kids, with our whatever it is. But you have to take action and change the way you see it. And for some reason, I never knew that I was able to change my perspective. And it takes a lot of work.
So give me an example.
So if I'm feeling upset or stressed about something, oh, I should have done this, I should have handled that differently. Eating is a big thing for a lot of people, and it is for me and was for me. And again, I'm not 100% prepared to get into it, but if I did a poor job at managing food, I would beat myself up for it. And we say stuff to us like, you're an idiot, why'd you do that? You knew it was gonna suck, you're stupid, all these things. And then I had to stop myself now and say, no, thank you. That was a great reminder of why I don't like to eat that, or why I don't like to eat as much, or why. So it's a matter of practicing that and changing your perspective. Or why doesn't anyone, I'm with someone, but when I was single, what's wrong with me? Why does no one want to date me? No, this is a great time to enjoy not having to worry about somebody else.
Yeah.
But you have to practice that. And I never understood that you have that ability.
Okay.
Until recently. And I want to help people understand that you can do that, and you have to work at changing your mind.
There's actually a great book called Exuberance.
Yeah.
Which actually talks about a lot of these issues. Like one of their two best examples are actually Snoopy and Tigger. Like people, they compare and contrast Tigger and Eeyore, and like the opportunity to just make yourself happy.
And there's a great monk, and I'm forgetting his name right now. I listed all this stuff on YouTube, and he said, it's never the situation, it's always the mind you bring to it. And I was not even able to understand that stuff a couple years ago, but now I fully understand that, where it's literally the mind you bring to it, and you can choose whatever mind you want.
Right.
Which was like mind-blowing to me, that I could choose to be sad or happy. You have that ability. No one ever really said that to me.
Okay. Because everything, and that's also the hardest thing to do. Nothing is harder than wrapping your mind around something, than changing your mind, than getting your mind to perceive something differently. That's really hard to do.
But I feel like if you're not doing that in life, then you're just letting your mind run your life.
Right. Correct.
And I have to practice. I have not mastered it. But when I go into a situation, I have to get my mind. If someone's treating me poorly, I used to be like, feel upset and feel sad about it. Now I say, oh, something's wrong in their life. Because I dare anyone out there to treat someone bad when they're in a good mood.
On Periscope, a bunch of people are mentioning Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer.
I don't know that one. I'll have to watch that one. Thanks for the recommendation, though. I need the book. But I'll tell you the other thing that really helps me is practice.
And how do you practice?
Okay, if I'm late for something, like today, I was running a little late, and I was like, I don't have time to get on the train. I'm just gonna hop in a cab. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late for Jenna. I want to be late for. And I'm like, you know what?
And nor should you be late for me ever.
We run on Lombardi time. Everybody's supposed to be here 5 minutes early.
And I'm like, you know what? You did the best you could this morning. It's okay. If you're 5 minutes late and Jenna's upset, you apologize, you know your truth. Your intentions were not to be late.
Right.
And you weren't trying to be disrespectful to Jenna.
Yeah.
Turns out I was
Early.
That's what happens when you deal with someone in TV, though, because I know it's like 12 o'clock. Like, you're going to hit at 12 o'clock.
Right.
So when the elevator isn't coming and you're frustrated, you're like, I'm late, you know.
Yes,
you know
the light isn't changing.
Right.
When the car in front of you isn't moving.
Now I say, this is a great time to practice patience. Let me practice my patience right now in this moment. And then I practice patience. And then all of a sudden the elevator's there and it's over with, you know? So it's really true. All those quotes are true, but you have to take action in order to live that life. You can read a million quotes, but until you start taking action and changing the way your mind is, and the greatest thing is I can think whatever I want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what anyone says or anyone does, because the only thing in this life you have to do is deal with your mind. Literally. Right. Anyone can do or say anything to you. They're not injecting you with emotion when they're like, he makes me feel so loved. No, he doesn't. You're choosing that emotion with that person.
How did you come to this?
That's what I need to expose at some point of how I came to this, because I didn't think like that.
So you had a situation, obviously a difficult situation in your life, and you used this to get you over it.
Right. I was awakened to this, and this is how now I live my life. And the only other thing that really helps me, besides sleep and water, which, you know, I work mornings, so I'm up at, 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah. Sleep obviously is huge. I feel like a different human. I know you understand that. And people that work shift work that are watching, I know you can understand that. And water. But eating actual food has changed my life.
As opposed to?
Nothing processed. So,
That's what we're doing, Lance.
That's the diet.
I'm doing this.
It's not even like a diet. It's like, just eat stuff that's natural to earth. Like, there's no, like, someone asked me, well, what do you follow? No, literally just anything natural to earth. That's it.
Yeah, we're doing the one ingredient. We're just going to do one ingredient.
One ingredient, but, there's some things that have 3 ingredients, and it's okay. Like, but as long, again, and I hate this whole you can read the ingredient thing, but I'm like, you can even make it that much more simple where it's one ingredient.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that you can make and eat with that. But, we put the right fuel in our cars, but we don't put the right fuels in our body, and we expect our minds to work properly.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of research on gut-mind interaction for depression and anxiety and all of that. Yeah. And it's incredible how your mind is really in your gut. There's no such thing as a chemical imbalance. It literally doesn't exist. Like, any therapist will tell you that's not even, there's no truth to it. So it's like your mind is in your gut. So your eyes are always regenerating, your skin, like, so a plant, for instance, if we had a plant right here, we wouldn't feed it soda and Pop Rocks and put it in the dark and expect it to live and thrive and grow, right? But we do that to ourselves, and we know that's not how the body works.
Correct.
So once I was awakened to that, also I was like, well, no wonder everyone is struggling.
But the thing is, we all know that, right? So it's the difference between everyone knows that.
I don't know that everyone, people don't connect the two.
Okay.
Maybe
they don't connect
on
it
the
to
shelves.
Longevity, but they'll know that Pop Rocks and soda is not as good for you as apple,
but I don't think
and
people understand how detrimental it
Maybe
is
not.
to your mental health and your physical health, because they think if it's out there, it's been tested, which, by the way, a lot of stuff has not been tested,
right?
Which is a whole other conversation. And they think, oh, it's on the shelves, it's okay for us to eat, and it's going to do something for it. It'll give me some sort of nutrients. No. Some of it's literally just chemicals.
But where does the difference between knowing it and doing something about it is what I'm fascinated by.
When you're suffering to the point that you're debilitated or crying every day or sad every day or talking to your friends every day or not motivated, don't want to get out of bed, angry, whatever your emotion is, pick one, and you're sick of living like that, then you make a change, or you're gonna keep living like that.
Right.
I think you have to get to a really, not you have to, everyone's different. I was at a really low place that I had to do something because it just wasn't gonna, I couldn't keep on.
And this was it.
And in the blog that I wrote, the point is like, we all wear these masks, right? Like, I have no idea what's going on in your life right now. Even if you were one of my best friends in the world, you really don't know what's going on in someone's life. But we all put on the mask and we go and say, everything's great or wonderful, and we kind of complain about things here and there. But the reality behind that is so different.
Right.
And I have to do it on a national level, and I kind of want to use this national platform to expose that. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, someone on TV. Every human being is struggling hard, and we need to be more compassionate and more understanding and change our perspective where, again, if someone's being a jerk to me, I need to take a beat and be like, oh yeah, something's going on in their life. Something is. I don't know what it is, because you just don't, there's no need for that unless you're upset about something. That's manifesting whatever's going on.
Has this made you better at your job?
It's made me better at my job, better just as a human. Again, I have not perfected it. I can still have moments.
Right.
But like when I was just in Hurricane Matthew, usually you live off Pop-Tart, you live off garbage when you're in the field. And we went and stopped at the store, and I got 3 boxes of lettuce. I got carrots, I got pistachio nuts, I got, avocado. And that's what I ate when I was on the road. And I pack myself now food. And people say it takes too much. You know what? Complain. If you're not ready to do it, don't do it. I don't care. But bless you.
Thank you. You're right.
If I don't eat that stuff, my mental health just
and your energy,
everything,
and your skin, and everything.
Right. It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah. On
this schedule and in this business that I have to be very mindful of that.
That's great. That's great. And it takes a lot of people a lot of years to come to that.
It takes, I'm so thankful that I was able to understand that and open to hearing it.
Yeah.
And I want to help people because friends will call me. Like I just had a friend that called me yesterday, and she's going on and on and on and on. And I'm like, hang on a second. Let's just stop for a second. Yeah. Stop blaming this and that person. No one's injecting you with emotions. No one's making you feel angry. No one's making you feel loved. Like, you're choosing that. Like right now, if I said choose to just be happy about this, can you do it? She's like, well, yeah, I could just choose. Okay, right. So do it. We have to practice this.
Right.
You start small. The elevator's late. I'm late. What do? It's a great time to practice patience. Yeah. And you know what? And I'm going to walk in and own that I screwed up and say, I am so sorry. Those were not my intentions. I, screwed up. I'm going to do better next time.
Serenity now. Insanity later. No, just a line from Seinfeld. What are people saying, Lance?
There's a lot of people here. And a lot of people are very much into this whole, there's literally thousands of responses here. So, but sort of to summarize a lot of what they're saying, this connection between mental health and eating is not something like I think people think of eating mainly from a dietetic and what your body looks like point of view. But what you're really saying, if I can paraphrase, and I want to dig a little deeper into this, is it's really how your mind looks is really being motivated or affected by what you're putting into your
100%. And anyone out, you guys can all.
I guess the question is, what are there have to be studies on this kind
there
of?
There are.
And so how do we sort of lock into that?
There are doctors who treat mental health. There's a woman, Kelly Brogan, she's here in New York. She is a psychiatrist that treats you by getting people off their medication. And again, I'm not bashing anyone or anything. This is what worked for me. So if you're medicated, trust me, I know all about it. If you're in therapy, I know all about it. If you're going down that path and it's not working for you, this is just another option for you to look into. Not pushing anything. This is what's helped me. She treats her patients through food and gets them off medicine. So she'll test your blood to see what you're low in. And she is she's an MD, all these amazing accolades and everything, and she used to treat with medication and now treats with food. There's physicians like, I never get sick anymore. And if I start to feel like a little sick, I take zinc, vitamin C, because the medicine you're taking is just masking your pain. It's not actually healing you, And so when you start Googling about how the body works and acidity and how the cells pull in nutrients, then your mind is just like, oh, duh.
Right.
It's not, so there are, just Google, mind-gut connection. And they're doing a tons of study on the, probiotics and all the stuff that's in your gut.
And it's interesting that it's tied into the same type of thing that we were talking about with the diet plan.
Right.
Like,
Just getting the crap out
because
of
you were
your
saying
system.
about like the single ingredient food and how that affects. Cause
Right, how all the there's all this vitamin C in like kiwi, and what does vitamin C do? Well, vitamin C is going to help with different parts of your body. Like you could go through each fruit, like beets. Okay, what are the nutrients? And by the way, if you heat anything, you kill the nutrients. So this is why some people eat raw, because if you heat things over a certain degree, then you're actually killing those vitamins and minerals that your body uses.
That's actually interesting. Like when you go to Africa or something, they want you to actually cook. They will tell you only eat the cooked food because they're nervous about like parasites.
Well, parasites and whatnot, but here in the States,
yeah.
If you can eat a raw pepper versus a cooked one, you're going to get so many more nutrients out of the raw pepper.
Sure.
And like even your skin, everyone wants to put stuff on the outside of their skin to fix it. It's shocking when you find out like it all is from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you just start Googling and learning, and you don't have to be, I am not super duper smart, but you just start reading about it all, it's just like, oh yeah.
That's how you came to all this?
Andy here says that his wife is bipolar and they treat it through nutrition.
And she's better?
And
Andy, is she better after nutrition?
I'm going to try to catch him. It's a little different on Periscope because the comments go so fast.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's doing better.
There's all sorts of things that can be treated, through food, because again, like if you put diesel gas in a regular car, it's not gonna work.
Correct.
So if I'm guzzling chemicals into my mouth, what makes me think my body's actually gonna function physically or mentally?
Correct.
Is there actually some people who are like, this is actually this is becoming a very interesting feed on Periscope.
Okay.
So is there a fear that the FDA and Big Pharma are sort of spending so much money and have so much advertising dollars behind them to sort of push this aside? And I guess the corollary question to that would be, there's a big farming industry in the world, and shouldn't they be sort of involved with this? Like you're talking about some pretty big businesses here.
Right. So I don't want to get into the politics of it because that is a whole separate conversation. Sure. But I will say, Google all of it.
I'm sorry, excuse me. She was hospitalized for psychosis, now takes vitamin support and probiotics just because of the stuff
probiotics, the probiotics in your gut. I mean, it's not your mind, and I know that some people might say, you don't know, because I haven't shared all the details of my story, but trust me, everyone that's watching, I know.
Sounds like it.
I've tried it all. I've tried the conventional way. I've tried, everything. So, and that's fine. I'm ready to take, any sort of heat. That's totally fine because I know my truth and I know my story. And just
why should there be heat?
Ready,
like there shouldn't be heat. Like to see your life.
But you don't. Yeah, but this is how it works on.
Being in the public eye, people are going to say you don't know and this and that and the other. But just because I'm not prepared to share everything because the onslaught that you can get and again, I understand that's on them. I'm just not sure I'm ready to.
I understand that, and your life is your time.
Right. So what I would say to everyone is start looking up. And I have a million links I would love to share with people, but you just start Googling like how the body works and acidity in the body, and I mean, you have to like kind of remove yourself from the conditioning that we've had, right? So like everything in life is conditioning. We mourn a certain way because we were told that's how you're supposed to get over a relationship, a death, whatever it may be. The reality is I can choose. Right now, I'm gonna get over that relationship that that guy just walked out on me. I'm supposed to, right? Cry and be sad and I can what? Because you were told that's how you're supposed to handle a relationship,
right?
And when you start to step away from that, understand that, uncondition yourself to the things you've been taught.
But aren't you just sort of numbing emotions? Where does your emotional life play into that? So if you're not gonna get upset when the elevator doesn't come, and you're not gonna get sad when someone breaks up with you.
What's wrong with living like that?
I think it's healthy for you to feel the full gamut. I'm not saying you have to be at the bottom of the barrel, but isn't it healthy to feel, to feel pain sometimes so you can know what euphoria feels like, to feel frustration so you can know what success feels like?
Yes, I think it is the range.
Okay.
From going from here to here.
Okay.
And let's bring it all a little bit closer. You can be upset when someone breaks your heart or whatever.
Right.
But I don't need to be in fetal position for a month, checking my phone every second.
Right. Oh, that's the worst.
But you know what I mean?
Oh, Stephanie, that's the worst. It brings back such horrible memories.
Maybe I'll be in fetal position for a day or two.
Yeah.
And then be like, hang on a second, why am I wasting my, let me cry, be upset. But I don't need to go this low.
Yeah.
And I don't need to go that high.
Correct. I get that.
And I don't need to depend on people for, again, we think that people make us feel a certain way, and the reality is we make ourselves feel a certain way.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You have a lot of people who are really agreeing with you here. I mean, like, it's crazy how many people are.
But understanding that, and again, like you said, it's not just being completely numb to life.
Right, and that was my only thing, was making sure you're not. That you want to still feed your emotional side.
Totally.
Which is as important to me as all the other things, but it's what makes me me, which is why I'm, I run the gamut of emotions, but you can read me.
My highs and highs used to be so big, and my lows used to be so low. It's a terrible way to live. Anyone that's watching, or I know, we have that same intense personality.
Yes.
And bringing that in, like reining that in, it's just for me, a much more happy way to live, where I'm not getting so, even if I was 5 minutes late, I would be like so upset, before, where now it's like, I don't have to be so upset I'm 5 minutes late. I don't have to be so upset that this person said this to me and then I feel bad about myself, and I have to be like, hang on a second, okay, good reminder to do this, that, or the other.
Right.
So again, I don't have it mastered whatsoever, but
you're on the right path, and you seem to know how to self-medicate without medication, and to heal without the traumatic effects of what most people have to go through to kind of get to that place. It sounds like it's working. Like you've stumbled upon something that you haven't perfected, but it's working for you.
It's working for me, and I just know that it's helped a lot of my friends when they call me upset about something. And listen, I'll be there and I'll cry with you and hold your hand, and I'm not saying I instantly let's change our mind about this. Okay, let's be upset for a second here, but let's just remember, this is a great, the universe will keep giving you reminders, right? Last night for my boyfriend, I made dinner, and there was this big block of cheese, and who doesn't love cheese and crackers? Well, I know he loves soft cheese, and it's like da. And I was sitting, and we're drinking wine, and you drink wine, next thing you know, you're just face first into everything.
Yeah.
But I had to pep talk myself. We're not going to eat this cheese, and we're going to just let Omar eat it, and I didn't touch it.
Really?
Now this morning I did cut off 2 pieces of the baguette and eat that with my breakfast. But they were small pieces, but last night I knew if I started, especially when I was having some wine and we were relaxing, it was going to be disastrous.
Floodgates.
But you also have to have supportive people. So I'll say, and Omar's great about it, this is several months ago, we were at a dinner with 16 people, and I'm like, don't let me eat the dessert. I know they're going to bring it, they're spraying it out for everyone, just take it away. And they put it down for, he's like, thank you. You have to have, it also helps to have that supportive, and all my friends very supportive, with all that. So having that support system is so helpful.
It's so important.
You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's really only you that's really doing anything, right?
Yeah.
But being able to verbally say to someone helps give you a little more confidence.
Right.
And don't be ashamed of that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to drink that, I don't want to do this, I'm uncomfortable with that.
And there is a little shame when I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to go parties, and say I'm not going to drink, or I don't want to go
I didn't
somewhere.
drink for a year and a half. I just started drinking in the last, little bit here, maybe within the last year. And none of my friends could have cared less.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
What's in your cup? Who cares? Right. I don't like you because of what's in your cup.
Correct.
I like you because you're a kind, loyal friend.
I am.
Even though I haven't seen her in a year, but whatever.
But you've been on your journey, and I wanted to give you space on your journey.
I know, and
I didn't even know you were on your journey.
I know,
I didn't even know that part
because nobody did.
Nobody knew or does.
Always felt that I could reach out to you if I needed to.
Thank you.
Always. And always felt comfort in us living this close. I'll say that.
We do live really close, 8 steps away. What are people saying, Lance?
There's just a lot. Cancer, the forbidden cure, is something that's getting mentioned.
So cancer is an interesting topic. Again, if I have lots of friends and parents who dealing with cancer, and if you're interested in looking alternatives, if that's something you're open, again, if you're open to it, it's amazing what certain greens can do to cells and healing, and no sugar, and because cancer feeds on sugar, no doctor will disagree with you on that.
Right.
So if you're open to it, Google alternative. I think it's just being open. And I think that's something that has been awesome for me too. It's just being open, great, that works for you, that's awesome. I want to hear about it, and maybe there's a little nugget in there that might help you.
Yeah.
I don't judge. I really don't judge anyone or anything. And my big motto, which I do a lot of time on my posts on social media, is #DoYou. And that's what's great about my girlfriends. It's like, we all disagree. Like, I have this group text with some of my girlfriends from Atlanta. There are like hardcore Republicans, hardcore Democrats, and people who, you know, whatever, right, up the middle, doesn't matter type of thing. And it's amazing that we all can sit around and talk, and we say, do you, we respect your opinion. There's no, you have to do it my way, this is how you should think. It's, hey, does that make you happy? Then we support it.
It wouldn't it be great if our country had a few more of those in it?
Yeah. Do you. If it's not harming anybody else, do you. If you want to take an alternative route to feel better and live a better life, then by all means, do it.
Yeah.
Don't judge anyone for what they're doing if it works for them.
Right.
And that's frustrating.
Right. Well, we live in a society that doesn't normally subscribe to that all the time. So it's
never.
It's a lesson that we have to learn and teach at the same time. Except for the people who seem to be on Periscope.
Well, everybody, so there's a lot of support. Everybody loves you. The question that there's some specific food questions here. First of all, in medicine. So there's kale. Are there specific foods that are like better for your brain? I guess.
Totally. Listen, coconut oil. There's some studies with Alzheimer's and coconut oil and how it helps Alzheimer's patients. So it's just whatever ailment you have or mental health or whatever, just start Googling, you know, food and Alzheimer's or food and, you know, whatever, because when something's wrong, you want to heal it, right? Yeah. We don't want to just mask the pain. We actually want to heal the body. Right. And the body works off vitamins and minerals and nutrients. This I know you know so well. Right. And I'm not a physician. I'm not a registered dietitian, so I don't know the details. But you can very easily find it online or go to a nutritionist or a holistic physician.
Yeah, what I would prefer to do is, as opposed, like for us, like I think I would rather not have people just Googling themselves. Like I'd rather
go to the doctor.
I'd rather have us try to find some people to bring in.
Yeah, you can bring a holistic physician who will say, listen, in kale, there are these vitamins and minerals in kale, and these vitamins and minerals help your eyes. Yeah. These ones help your skin. This one helps your liver. I mean, there's certain things that will help.
So
other questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vaccines. Like, is there an issue here with like vaccines, medications? How does that all interplay?
Where do you stand?
And where is the interplay with all of that?
I don't even want to get involved in that right now.
So this is not something like that. Something.
I, for one, with my 2 kids, 100% say vaccinate your children. I'm just going to say that right now. I will argue.
I don't have any children.
Not yet. Not yet.
From your lips. But you know that expression, where were you at? It's like, hang on, what just happened here? Did that just get awkward? Because it's from your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, we play all day yesterday. We were playing with teams. This would have been a good.
Right, this is a good team.
A different team.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah. Jenna's on the Mount Rushmore for her team.
I'm not on the Mount Rushmore. My team.
I'm actually not on any.
You're not.
I'm not on Mount Rushmore.
You're thinking, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into it. Yesterday.
Yeah. So.
Another question.
So the next question is basically in terms of exercise relative to mental health and how that all.
I mean, you would know better than anything what it releases. I mean, you're the authority on that. There's no workout I've ever been into that I felt worse after.
I always say that. I'm like, you will never, ever, 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 ever finish a workout and say, that sucked. Why did I do that? What a waste of time. All I did was get stronger and burn calories. Like, what? Are you joking? Yeah, it's a pain to start and it's a pain to do, but there is no better feeling than when you are done and you take that shower and you have done it and it's euphoric and the endorphins are streaming out of you. It's the best feeling in the world. And if that doesn't help you with your mental health, your physical health, then I don't know what will.
You might feel exhausted and annoyed after, but you're not going to feel like worse for it. Yeah.
At all.
No.
What about drinks? They're asking about just like juices, drinks, sodas.
I juiced for an entire month, 1 month. Have never felt better.
Really?
Can you explain that?
How did you get protein?
I did some protein shakes. So I was also working out, so I would do some protein shakes because you really shouldn't work out and just juice. I mean, like, it's not that good for you. But it was literally just greens and, beet juices and then some shakes, supplement.
And how did you do?
Great. Me and Amy Freeze did it.
You did?
Yeah, and I felt wonderful at the end of it.
Did you lose weight?
Yeah, I mean, totally. And that's the other thing.
Amy Freeze, the weather person in New York?
Yeah, she's one of my good friends. So, like, all this, like, junk here,
Yeah.
I've got it. Like, who doesn't have that little, well, you
Right.
don't. But,
I
like,
have it.
Whatever. That stuff doesn't go away until you can't work that off.
Right.
Like, you have to eat properly that off.
That's, look, 80% of your
Is diet.
body
right.
is diet.
Right.
It just is.
So there's that other misconception of like, oh, well, I can eat this, but then I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. It's like,
That
it
is the
doesn't work,
biggest
like,
myth there is.
It doesn't work like that.
It does not work like that.
Your body
There's no
doesn't
spot
process
training. There's
stuff.
no spot diet.
But doesn't your brain on some level feel better? Like, I don't know, when I eat cake, like, or M&M's, like...
But it's still going to go right here. It doesn't
No,
go
I'm talking about the... I'm actually most intrigued, and I think a lot of the people here are most intrigued by sort of this mental health tie-in that you've been mentioning. And I find, like, when I have chocolate, or, like, it just gives me... It makes my brain work a little bit better. Like, when I have coffee...
Only temporarily. While
And then
you're...
long term, that's my question.
Which is
While
what one
you're-
of this monks said about life, too. He was like, chocolate's really good until you eat too much, and then all of a sudden it's bad.
Or it's really good until your body is... Until the sugar has left your system,
Right.
which is going to be a fast crash.
Right.
And then you're left even lower than you were, more depleted than you were before
But
you
he
had the
was
sugar.
using it as an analogy of life, of like, yeah, everything seems good until it's not. You know what I mean? So like, you can't look for your acceptance and your love and everything else in chocolate or in other things, because it never lasts. So you have to find it within.
So chocolate and wine would be like a bad...
No, look,
Listen, it's a great
and
combo if
Diet
you ask
Coke.
me.
No,
but
like if you're drinking Diet Coke, eating M&Ms...
No, these are just... They're nutrient-less...
Like, you'll be depressed. Like, eventually.
I
Like,
know
you'll
that
crash,
for
probably.
instance, I know if I'm somewhere and there's like a piece of cake and I go, I really want to eat that cake right now. I mean, obviously I'm not perfect. I still have like plenty of meat on me. And I know I'm going to eat this cake and this is not going to feel good. It's not. And I'll eat it away, you know?
Right.
And then sure enough, who doesn't feel good, you know, an hour later?
Well, your
This
sugar
guy-
spikes, your insulin levels climb, and then they drop. And your body can't process that anymore. And if your body is given too much sugar, it doesn't know what to do with it, and it ends up storing it as fat. And then you need more sugar again, and it's just a terrible cycle.
For your brain, one of the questions, cardio versus, what's the other type of exercise?
Strength
training.
Which one is better for your
Again,
brain?
you'd have to ask someone who's knowledgeable in that, but I also think it's a do you type of thing. Like, I bet you some people, you know, get more benefits out of cardio. These long distance, you know, ultra marathoners, they're getting more out of running 70 miles
Insane.
than someone who's a little meatier who likes to be in the gym pumping the iron, right? So I think it's a do you type of thing, and you'd have to consult an expert.
Look, I think they're both going to release endorphins, and you'll feel great doing either one of them. Which one actually aids mental health, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think whatever works for you.
Yes.
Because I don't think an ultra marathoner would help his mental health to be in a gym for 2 hours pumping iron.
Right. Stressing about it, not knowing what to do. It's not part of his body type.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So just figure out what you like. I mean, I like to mix my routine up. I do kickboxing, I go running, I do cycling, I do triathlons. Like, I need to mix it up all the time.
Really? You seem like you've got it all down.
I haven't have it perfected, but I've found kind of a path that works for me and makes me happy.
I don't think it's good for you to perfect it. I think we should all embrace the fact that we're a work in progress. And me personally, I love that. I love that every day I could learn something new. And I'll never say, well, I got it. I don't need to learn anything else. I'm good. And it sounds like you're close. And I love hearing the way you sort of approached life from like a different vantage point.
Thanks.
And it seems like you're in a good place.
Trying.
So does that mean that I can't call you if I'm traveling somewhere and I need to know what the weather's going to be like? Like, do I get that in? I want that in.
I'm going to think about it. Give me
to
think about it, Jenna. I'll get back to you. Maybe if you have the girls send me a cute message.
Okay. Done and done.
And then I'll respond. If you send a text, you're probably getting
not
ignored.
So much. Okay. I'll have the girls be like, Stephanie, what is the weather going to be like in... And then she'll be like,
Well, actually, on the weather side, one of the questions is how has all of these apps where you get the localized weather, how has that actually affected your business, like on the Weather Channel?
I think it's how it's affected all media. Is now we have apps, now you have streaming, now you can watch your shows on the computer. I think it's affected TV overall.
Yeah. Are they accurate? Like, let me see. My watch says it's like 64 degrees.
Well, listen, the temperature is actually taken in the shade. So the fact we're sitting in the sun.
Yeah, why is it so much hotter up here? Just because
Because you're sitting in the direct sunlight and we're in an urban setting. So, you know, like what they do is the temperature's taken in the shade so that you don't have these huge fluctuations, right?
Yeah.
And it's like several feet off the ground and air's flowing through it. It's kind of like this ideal circumstance. It's usually at the airport is where they take the observation.
Yeah, they do.
But they have one at the Central Park Observatory. But majority of cities are taken at the airport.
How much crap do you get when you predict a storm that doesn't happen?
So, I mean, a lot. But what I really try to do is go up there and say, listen, here's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
If this dry air gets in, there's going to be nothing.
Okay.
If it doesn't get in, we're going to have a huge storm. So I can't tell you 100% which is going to be. I know, right, this day and age, we want everything instant and well, that's just not a reality of life. So bless you again.
It's the sun. That's why I'm sneezing. The light. Yeah.
So I try to be straight up and real about it and say, here are the scenarios.
Right.
And I can't tell you which one's going to happen. You prepare how you'd like.
Gotcha. And what was it like working with our friend Al?
I mean, he is the same person, as you know, off air as he is on air.
Al
I mean,
Roker.
One of the kindest, loving, most bubbly humans.
Really is. Sweet guy.
Thoughtful, compassionate, good guy.
Yeah, as soon as he gets back from research, I want him to come sit down. You guys should both come and hang out. Talk about all things that you can't talk about on TV.
Right.
Right? No. This is great. I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm so glad that you stumbled upon and now are living this really beautiful life that it sounds like is so healthy for you and so good for you, body, mind, and soul. I would love for you to come back and tell me how you're doing.
Yeah.
And all of it. I don't know if you still live as close to me as you once did.
Well, if you're ever not on this thing, then I can update you.
Okay. I feel like I'm on this thing for 4 straight hours, but I am going to email you tonight, and I want to call you and...
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so is there any way that the technology can be utilized to help Haiti? Like, is there like this type of thing that they're not getting the right weather? Like, we have more accurate access to weather information.
There's no communication down there.
Well, that and the infrastructure.
They're not getting it. I know for a fact. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here.
Go.
But there's no communication out in these rural areas. Zero.
So they need more lead time than is provided. Like, we actually maybe get like a day and it's effective enough.
If they even go out and evacuate their people.
And there's no way to get
correct.
There's no way to get word to them. So when my dad, who has a factory down there, has employees that come to work, he can't even tell them not to come in because there's going to be a storm. There's no centralized really communication for people that are in these outlying areas. And
so
that's really
like tying in sort of the two pieces is like actually the overall system kind of exists. But
do they have shelters that they could go to, or does that even exist?
Not in those areas. It doesn't exist in those. Not in the rural areas where the whole west side of Haiti got hit.
Could they bring them in town to a shelter? Does that even exist in town?
I don't think there's a part of the government that could even localize, or there's any organization that would be able to collect everybody and bring them in.
So they really need like a whole storm plan.
They need a new country.
But they're not going to get a new country. Like, it's going to be hard to get them all out. I mean, like, look what's happening with trying to get everybody out of Syria. Like,
I know.
They're not going to go everywhere. So they need to have. So this is part of what's on your plate now.
Great. He thinks I should save Haiti. Well, I'll do that. Like, I'll do that later because I have to get an MRI on my ankle first.
Save yourself and.
Then I'm going to go save Haiti.
Okay.
So if you get a chance, come help me save Haiti.
I like that plan.
Yeah. So I have to go to the grocery store. I got to call Verizon. Oh, and then I'm going to save Haiti. So come join me sometime. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's been nice catching up with you.
It's good to talk to you guys.
It's good, right? It's fun. This is what we do.
I'm totally schwitzing.
I'm schwitzing too. I'm going to go into that shade in a second. Will you come back and visit again?
Of course.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks. Let me take a picture.
Oh, so hot. Hot. Sweating.
This is still live.
Oh.